Hey everybody, it's Michael, and if you're somebody who is experiencing weight gain, you're having bad concentration problems, you're not sleeping right, and your memory's a little bit off, then it could in fact be because you have chronically high cortisol levels. So in this video today, I'm going to talk about 3 nootropics that can help to reduce cortisol levels back to a somewhat healthy range because they're going to make a big difference. First though, it's important for us to point out that cortisol is not necessarily a bad thing. Cortisol is found in caffeine. Cortisol goes up when we exercise. However, really what's bad is when we have elevated cortisol levels because it's going to impair our cognitive function. Think of cortisol like a stress hormone. What happens is you have a fight or flight response to specific instances which take place during the day. Usually it's harder working individuals that aren't taking the proper time to sleep and rejuvenate themselves that are having these elevated levels of cortisol, which are going to have bad impacts on your body. I'm going to talk about 3 specifically, but stay tuned to the end of the video because that's when I'll share my favorite supplement for reducing cortisol levels. First nootropic would be ashwagandha, specifically the KSM-66. Ashwagandha, it's becoming a little bit tricky because there's different variations of it. However, this form specifically, I'm taking the KSM-66 at 300 milligrams twice per day. It's really going to help you to reduce cortisol levels and feeling more present. Feeling like generally you have less stress. So what's super about ashwagandha is that it's relatively safe. This is one of the safest nootropics out there. It's been used for centuries and it's becoming more and more popular because ashwagandha is something that's appropriate for anybody. Whether you're a student, you're an entrepreneur, perhaps you have a 9-to-5 job and you're looking to get a little bit more energy and help you fight off fatigue. Ashwagandha, it's noticeable. It may take a couple of weeks for you to start noticing the benefits. What it is, think of it like a natural, not a man-made nootropic. It's a herbal supplement found in India, found in some places of the Middle East as well as Africa. And as we look at examine.com where we've got a whole bunch of data nicely summarized, we can see some studies showing there's results with ashwagandha with respect to cognition, anxiety, fatigue, depression, even general well-being. What makes ashwagandha somewhat unique is people will use it for a lot of different reasons. Some people may be using it for a benefit with decreasing cortisol levels, but somebody else may swear by using ashwagandha for improving their muscle mass and building more muscle and achieving better fat loss. Lower levels of acne, helping you with your libido and your testosterone levels. Ashwagandha, it can really do a lot, and it's interesting in that there's very few side effects. A couple of those side effects can include having a little bit of a lower ambition, so decreased work ethic, feeling a little bit too relaxed, maybe even somewhat lethargic. And that's what happens because some people may already have probably like moderate or lower levels of cortisol, and then they're taking ashwagandha to lower their cortisol levels even further, which is going to negatively affect you because that's when it really starts to decreasing your alertness and your overall intensity. Here's what the powder looks like. It's an orangish texture. This is the KSM-66. Doesn't taste too bad. As far as the popular variations of ashwagandha, what they include are the ashwagandha root, where you would need to take more. They include the KSM-66 and the sensorial version. So KSM-66 and sensorial, these are patented extracts. And with these extracts, is you don't necessarily need to take them with food because they've already been through this extraction process. However, if you are taking the ashwagandha root, you need to take a little bit more. And along with that, it's probably advisable that you would take it with a good source of fat, like either a fattier form of milk or even some fish oil or MCT oil. One of the biggest differences is between the various forms of ashwagandha is the percentage of withanolides. Withanolide is the primary medicinal ingredient in ashwagandha, which is kind of responsible for you feeling somewhat relaxed. So the different forms of ashwagandha have different percentages of withanolides. The ashwagandha root has just about 0.5% withanolides, whereas the KSM-66 version has 5% withanolides, and the sensorial version has 10% withanolides. And that is perhaps one of the reasons why when people take sensorial, they feel a little bit too relaxed, almost a little bit tired. And that's why I find KSM-66 be like the perfect balance between feeling a little bit relaxed, yet a little bit energized and feeling the best as far as cognition and productivity is concerned. I've found for me specifically, maybe not advisable for you, but I like avoiding ashwagandha first thing in the morning. And the reason for that is because in the morning, I want to feel energized, I want to feel somewhat intense and ambitious, and I don't want anything to take away from that. Whereas because ashwagandha is somewhat relaxing, there's a likelihood that you can have that drop of intensity, which is going to therefore kind of negatively affect your day, in my opinion only. And as well, cortisol really spikes first thing in the morning. So for that reason, a lot of people prefer taking it first thing. So it may work for you. Then again, some people like taking Ashwagandha KSM-66 at night because it can as well help you to achieve better sleep. So there's a lot of different ways of taking ashwagandha. Overall, I would say what's best is taking a split dose, taking it more than once a day, like either twice or 3 times per day. And as far as the dosage is concerned, that's where you want to assess your tolerance, maybe start off small and you can gradually work your way up. One of the great things about ashwagandha though, however, is like I mentioned, very few or if any side effects. So most people are taking it throughout the whole year with very little time off. Me personally, what that looks like is taking it 2 months on, followed by 2 weeks off, because we've got all these benefits, yet so little side effects. And what else is quite neat about ashwagandha is that you're very unlikely to have bad interactions. People often ask, can I take ashwagandha along with another supplement? Usually the answer is yes, but there are of course exceptions to that. So you're better off asking your GP. But overall, I would say ashwagandha for reducing cortisol levels, I would give it 2 thumbs up. Nootropic number 2 for reducing cortisol levels is Rhodiola Rosea. It contains as an active ingredient called salidrosides, and that is the primary ingredient responsible for decreasing cortisol levels. This is the version which I'm taking. This is the Rhodiola Rosea from Nootropics Depot, and it's a 3% salidroside. I'm taking about 300 milligrams each time I take it. What makes Rhodiola Rosea different than ashwagandha is that you can feel Rhodiola Rosea working from the first time you take it. That's been my experience with ashwagandha though. It takes about 3 weeks after taking it twice per day. With Rhodiola Rosea, taking 300 milligrams, you immediately feel like better energy, better mental alertness, your priorities are top of mind. It really feels like you've just taken a nap. I mean, even your appetite is significantly decreased. As we look at examine.com, where we have a nice summary of the studies, it says dosage is commonly between the 288 to 680 milligram range per day, and it's usually used for fatigue and anti-stress. And looking at the studies, we can see there's results. 14 studies showing there's a notable decrease with fatigue, improved cognition, improvement in subjective well-being, meaning a better mood, and this list goes on and on. Rhodiola Rosea is one of the most popular herbs out there for decreasing stress levels specifically. So how I'm using it again is the 3% salidroside version. I'm taking 300 milligrams twice per day. I'm taking it once around noon and once again in the late afternoon, early evening. Similar to taking ashwagandha, like I mentioned with ashwagandha, you wouldn't really want it first thing in the morning because it's going to make you relaxed. With Rhodiola Rosea, because it's something which helps you to fight off fatigue, when you wake up, you generally don't have much to fight off in terms of fatigue. It's not until you've kind of gone through your day a little bit, you've had some good experiences, bad experiences, and you want to have a reset. That's when you need your Rhodiola Rosea. So you can kind of dose this in accordance to the length of your workday. If you're having like a long workday, maybe 16, 18 hours, then there's nothing wrong with even taking it 3 times because it doesn't have that build-up effect like ashwagandha does. So with that being said, the way which one would take this and cycle with it is something like they can go with 1 month on, 1 week off. They can even go like 5 days on, 2 days off because it doesn't have that build-up effect. You can use Rhodiola Rosea basically in accordance with the intensity of your work schedule. This isn't something which I would take during my time off, like if I'm on a holiday, because really what it helps you do is helps you to rejuvenate in order to have a productive few hours afterwards. And here's what the powder looks like. It's this brown greenish color. I wouldn't mix it with the drink because it doesn't taste that great. You don't get any water in it, or it'll have some bad clumps. Another great nootropic for reducing cortisol levels is Phosphatidylserine. Come to think of this like a fatty substance that's already produced in the body, but when you supplement with it, a lot of people experience having a better memory, even improvements with ADHD type of behavior. There's studies showing that it's beneficial for elder people as well as younger people. Like me, myself, I found that when I was studying a lot and working very long hours, Phosphatidylserine was really effective for me at improving my memory and being able to fight off that fatigue in kind of like a similar way that Rhodiola Rosea would. But Rhodiola Rosea is slightly more stimulating, whereas Phosphatidylserine really isn't. There's a lot of people who are reporting good experiences with this supplement. Over here, we can see somebody swears by taking it with coffee because what happens is when you take caffeine, your cortisol levels naturally go up. So with Phosphatidylserine having the effect reducing your cortisol levels allows for you to have kind of like a jitter-free stimulation, more energy, a little bit less of a crash, and some people feel like mentally off when they take caffeine, whereas Phosphatidylserine can help that and make you feel like your natural self while being slightly more energized. There's a number of studies showing the benefits here, but the critique to these studies is that a lot of the subjects weren't using a lot of Phosphatidylserine. Over here on the website, it even says that People are using 100 milligrams once daily, which isn't enough in my opinion. I think that you're better off taking phosphatidylserine a few times a day. But there's benefits here reported with cognition, with cognitive decline, with anaerobic running capacity, ADHD, attention, fatigue, even golf performance. A study here shows that a group was taking 200 milligrams of phosphatidylserine for 42 days, and they actually had a better golf score. Phosphatidylserine is often combined with soy in order for you to maximize absorption to make it the most effective. What's so is if you look at even on Nootropics Depot, they have a soy-free version and a version that has the traditional soy. And that's the problem with a lot of these studies. Some of the studies show results with phosphatidylserine, and some of the studies show that there's no results with phosphatidylserine. Deeper into them, the ones which show the results are such that they're often paired with a fat source like soy, or some of the times the study also has omega-3. The way in which I would take it is 150 milligrams twice a day. However, I'm not using it right now because phosphatidylserine is so strong. I would really only use it for those maybe periods of times when I'm a little bit sleep deprived because I'm sleeping less than usual and have accumulated some sleep debt. But most of the time, if you keep your ashwagandha and your Rhodiola Rosea, that is enough. However, when you start combining too many nootropics to reduce your cortisol levels, that's when you can feel a little bit too relaxed. But it just depends from person to person. Some people are so stressed out that they just need to relax as fast as possible. And so you may find it beneficial. And I would say it's probably safe to combine these nootropics. But if you were to ask me which of the three is my favorite, it would without question be phosphatidylserine because I could definitely tell it was working when I was using it under a sleep deprived state. It was such that when you're using phosphatidylserine and you're a little bit tired, and that's when your cortisol level is usually up, you can almost feel it just wiping away your fatigue, your memory feeling instantly better. It's really powerful stuff for anybody who's studying or trying to master some sort of skill. Or maybe you have a deadline coming up and you need to be as productive as possible. With this particular nootropic, it reduces your cortisol, yet at the same time does improve your work ethic. So it's really quite powerful, phosphatidylserine. And I hope you all found this video helpful. And the way I'm going to finish this video is with an insertion of a video that I've made on ashwagandha. It's going over how to take ashwagandha as far as the different forms, as far as the benefits, and as far as what you can do to reset your tolerance and maximize the absorption. But do subscribe if you haven't already. It means a lot. Give the video a like and comment on it below. What are your thoughts about these three? And is there any nootropic that you feel that I've left out that is really powerful as well for reducing cortisol levels? And follow me on social media. I'll look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye guys. The reason why we need to do this is, like most supplements out there, most compounds, what so is our bodies can build somewhat of a tolerance. Your body begins to adapt to specific compounds.